Choosing the right drum beat for your metal riffs can be a very difficult task and could be make or break for your riffs. Today I'm going to go over 12 different drum beats that can work over just about any riff, and you'll be the judge to see which one you think will work best. If you're new to the channel, I'm Brendan Pajazic, and this channel is geared towards metal production and songwriting. If you're interested in that all, leave a subscription. Anyways, the point of this episode is to show you the real power of drums and how they're, in my opinion, more important than the guitar part because they can really shape the way that the song sounds and feels. If you're at all interested in that, let's jump right in. So this first beat is more of a tom beat. I'll display the MIDI so you can see what's going on. Kind of sounds more like a verse than an intro or anything else to me. The only issue I find with this one is that, yeah, it is cool, but it almost feels a little bit slow. The guitars aren't slow, but for some reason, I guess just the pacing of the drums make the part feel like it needs to be like 2 BPM faster, which makes the guitars sound a bit awkward. So again, that's pretty cool for a verse. I wouldn't use it as my intro to the song just because it's not grabby enough. It feels a little draggy to me. So beat number 2, I have more of a groove kind of feel. So it's a little simple, but more on the cymbals. So check this out. So those could be cool as like an intro or a chorus kind of feel, or really wherever you want. It's just a cool option. You'll notice that when I'm writing drums for basically any part, I do a lot of things where you can hear in that riff, there's like a ba, 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 ba. I'm usually accenting those main hits with a cymbal just to give the drums a little bit more excitement. So although the drum part is pretty simple and like, I don't know. Especially on that bam, 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 bam. It just makes it more exciting. It's a bit weird of a riff for like that halftime feel in my opinion. I probably wouldn't go with that halftime cymbal, but it's pretty cool. So for this next one, we have basically the same riff, but with the syncopated kicks. And it kind of just gives the part more of a feel and more of a push. So you'll see what I mean. So that one's a little bit more exciting to me than this one here. Same feel, just more filled in with the kicks. It's a little bit more exciting, but as you can see what I mean, you can instantly go from one of these drum parts to the next and they flawlessly sound good. I can't talk, so don't judge my channel by my... So this next one we have a halftime cymbal kind of thing. You can see the cymbals are pretty slowed out. They're on every half note. And then the snares, I've moved from being on the 3s to being on every other 1. That one's a little bit more niche. If you're going for the really open feel, there's obviously that one that you can go with. For this next beat, it's a 2-step kind of feel, and you'll notice instantly that the riff sounds a lot bouncier, and that's only because the snare is more frequent. And then halfway through, I make the snare even more frequent by putting it on every quarter note, and it makes it sound more like a metal riff. So again, 2 different options. If you're writing for a vocalist, then this will give them more of like an option to flow and do more of like a rappier thing. And on that second half, it gives you that option to have more of like a metal riff. So this next one is like that scissory kind of punk beat or the metal beat. You'll see that it instantly gives it a completely different vibe. Cool, so both of those beats definitely have much more of like a thrash metal type of feel. The first one, of course, is more of like that thrash scissor feel. The second one is like that double kick where like the splashes are going back and forth. That's a really cool trick if you're looking to program drums and make them a little bit more interesting and make them feel like deathcore or death metal. A lot of times they'll do that thing where the double kicks are going, but the cymbals are going back and forth. You can hear that makes it more interesting, and instead of getting fatigued by that cymbal always being on the right side, having the back and forth makes it more interesting. Cool, so this next one we have more of an up-paced beat again. It's not as crazy as the scissory metal one, but this is more of a punk beat. That one's personally one of my favorite beats. I just love the punk kind of feel, and I don't get to do it often, but when I do, I'm always happy. So it just feels like a, I don't even know, like it's like a metal punk, it's like a metal punk hybrid beat. And I really like it when it's on the floor tom leading, and then I went to the ride. I don't think that the ride cymbal is used as much as it should be because it's a really cool cymbal, and I think it got a bad rap in the 2009 era when people were using the bell just before a terrible breakdown. But yeah, I really like that one. As you can see, it picks up the pace. It's been 142 BPM the entire time. It feels a little bit quicker, and it just feels, I don't know, energetic. I really like that. So next up, we have more of like a drum build. This would be, I guess, before a breakdown or blast beats or something crazy like that. It would probably be, again, either like the second last part of a song or like right before the breakdown or right before a blast beat, depending on if you're making a death metal song. Pretty self-explanatory though. You just have the china and the hi-hats doing the count-ins, and then you have accents going with whatever the guitar and bass are doing. And that's going on with the toms and the kick and snare. Pretty typical kind of build-up feel. This next one is how I prefer to program drums, and it's basically making them techy and making the part interesting. Instead of being a groove, instead of being a two-step, instead of being a death metal part, you're making it syncopated with the guitars and making the drum parts as interesting as the guitar parts are, therefore making the guitar part way more interesting. That to me would be more of an intro or more of like a before the chorus or before like the big part of the song. It's kind of a build up or it's an intro. But yeah, like I said, I really prefer that kind of stuff. Throwing in toms, throwing in snares so that it's not just like the kicks doing the rhythm and then the snares doing the backbeat. That's how you make your drums more interesting. This part's more of an accent feel, and it's not really like a groove or a two-step or anything like that. It's more so just going with the hits of the guitar, making the part just feel like straight impact, and that's basically it. So you'll see what I mean. I really like syncopating stuff, but not over the top so that every single hit is syncopated drum and guitar. I really like that because the chugs are doing their own thing and the kick doesn't have to be going and doing the chug. It's really just accenting the main ba, 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 ba. And when the riff's more interesting than just going ba, ba, ba every time, it makes for a really cool technique. And it makes your riffs more interesting, in my opinion. In my writing style, I focus more so on the cool timings than being a shred wizard master. So for this next one, we have basically two of the same part. The second section of it is on the rim instead of on the hi-hat. These make for really good verse feels to create dynamics in your song. This is the way to do it. So those ones are probably my favorite, just because the feel of it makes it feel like it's not just a metal song. It makes it feel like you're like, okay, I'm focusing on songwriting. I'm not just focusing on writing the coolest riff or the coolest breakdown or the coolest two-step section. I included the second part because I feel like people don't use rims or rim shots or just rims in general in their music. And I feel like it's a missed opportunity because rims are really cool. I've said this in quite a few other videos. If you watch any other videos on this channel, drums will make a song really cool, where guitars, they're there. And I'm a guitar player, so I don't know. I focus on drums because they make the songwriting more interesting. There's infinite drum choices that you can make. But yeah, you can see that second half, I took the guitars off and it was just like a bass and weird guitar. So I'd use my technique of having the guitars with only the no cab version going. And it makes for kind of just like a background ambient sound while the bass is doing its thing. And you can see the guitar, and you can see the drums are kind of going crazy, but not over the top crazy, just making the part more interesting. I'll play the drums on their own. Out of all those options, I would say that one by far is my favorite one. Because I'm a nerd. Because I'm a narc. I'll tattle. I tattle on people. Alright, this one's for all the Drake fans out there and System of a Down fans. Your soca kind of beat. System of a Down does it. Drake does it. And then I actually didn't include one that I feel like is pretty necessary if I'm going to go as far as to do metal and death metal stuff. I got to do a blast beat one. So let's make a blast beat one. So usually with the blast beat, the first hit is stronger, second hit's a little weaker. Third hit's stronger, second hit's a little weaker. Now I'll of course put on the bell. I'm just going to copy the snare for this. So again, the properties of a blast beat, all of the drums happening at the same time. All kick, snare, cymbals. You want to make sure that the snare is lower in velocity than it normally is to make it sound somewhat convincing. And the world's your oyster. The drums are your oyster. The oyster is your oyster. You can do whatever you want with it. It's your song. It's your oyster. Cool, so that's all 17 variations. As you could see, they all sound good over the part. Literally completely different beats. Look at all that. That's data. That is MIDI data. And all of it worked over a simple slide riff. So I hope this helps you on your journey. I'm very curious to see, let me know what your 3 favorite beats of this were and which 3 least favorite were. I'm assuming that everybody watching this has different preferences and there were death metal variations in here, metalcore variations, groove metal, and just like experimental metal. So let me know what your favorite variations are. I know what my favorite were. And then let me know what your least favorite were, because I know what my least favorite were too. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed any of this, found any use in this video, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps, really makes a difference in the channel. And if you're interested, I'll see you next time. Thank you so much. See ya. Thanks. Thank you.